Hi, it's Glenn here, and welcome to the Asteroid tutorial Appendix 1. This was something that wasn't planned, but briefly spoke about compositing stuff together in the second part, so I thought I'd put this together just to kind of wrap things up a little bit. So we'll get straight to it. It's going to be quite a quick one, this. So if we go to out, we've got our render node here, and as we know, delete them out, and as we know, we've pretty much got everything set up the way we want. I've got my pixel samples on 8x8, and basically what we need to do is we need to render certain things out into passes. I'm not going to split it down into individual diffuse and specular and stuff like that, because basically I haven't really got the time for that. But what we will do is think about just doing a quick dirty render sort of passes we can come together just to finish it off, sort of thing. So I'm going to turn the asteroid off, I'm going to turn the planet off, and turn the environment off. I'm going to take the chunks off and the particles. So we're just left with the stars at this moment in time. So what we can do now is down here, right click Mantra 1 and wait for Mantra to fire up. So there we are, we have our star field. Okay, and basically because there's no animation on the background, we only want this one frame. So with that, file, save frame as, call it whatever you want, but please put the extension .pic. Find a location, name it what you like. Starfield's a good name. And yeah, just make sure it's got the extension .pic. Okay, that's Houdini's native picture format. Okay, so we only need that one frame, so save that frame, and then turn the stars off. Put your environment on, put the planet on, and then do another render. And let Mantra run away with that. You can see how slow it's going now. I've got it on pixel samples 8x8. I could have reduced this down because there's no real need to have it on 8x8, to be fair, because there's not a lot of detail. It's just a texture map really. So I could have got away with a much lower sampling setting than what we've got. So I'm going to stop that. And same thing again, we only want that one frame, so save your frame, and again, whatever name, wherever you want it, and .pic. Okay, so I turn the planet off, turn the environment off, and I didn't separate out the particles, the chunks, and the asteroid. Okay, I did that as a unit basically. When I show you the compositing, I'll show you a mistake I actually made, which I want you to try and avoid. It's a lot more difficult to spot things like that when you're actually recording because your mind's in different areas. So as you can see with the 8x8 pixel sample, it is going slower. I'm not going to render this out because I've already done it. So basically, right click there and do sequence. Okay, and Mantra will render out all of the frames that are in the timeline, and it's going to stick it into MPlay, so you can scrub backwards and forwards with the time slider on there. Once your animation's done, like I say, I'm not going to render the animation off because when I did this it took about, well, just under 2 hours. Once it's done, you go File, Save Sequence As. Okay, same thing again. Find it where you want to put it, name it whatever you like, but I sort of like did asteroid $F4.pic. What's happening here is it's going to be called asteroid, then there's going to be a dot, and then it's going to take the $F, so it's the frame number, so it'll be 1, and then the 4 is going to pad it, so it's going to be basically asteroid .0001.pic. Okay. So what the 4 is doing there is it's padding out the frame value. Okay. So you're not going to run out of frames. You can do F3 or, depending on how much padding you want. And that's fine, but before you render that one off, you need to think about something here. Because we've turned the environment off and we've turned the planet off, there will be no interaction from the planet's surface actually on the asteroid, and we want that interaction to be there. So once you've got your chunks, your particles and your asteroid and you're ready to render it out, go to your out, select your mantra node, and on this tab here go to objects. Now forced phantom, okay, come in here, select the environment, select the planet and accept them. So what that's going to do is, obviously when you render it, it's going to ignore the planet and environment. It's not going to show up in the render, but all the effects that the planet and the environment have on the asteroid will be in the render. Okay, so make sure you put your force phantom on there. Okay, so that interaction between the blue on the planet's surface is going to interact with the bottom of the asteroid. Once you've got all that rendered out, what we can do then is I'm going to come over here and go to composite view. That's going to throw you straight in the image network. So tab IMG, get an image network, jump inside. I think about this in such a way where you back to front, obviously. So if you go tab file, bring in a file node, and as you can see I have this sequence as an asteroid. It's only 200 frames, and then go any further, planet and starfield. So we'll start with the starfield. So we've got this now. Okay, they're not overly bright at the moment, so what we can do is we can add a bright node. Okay, and then I'm going to start cranking the brightness of this up. Okay, as you can see it's kind of a multicolour because we did that random colour. I'm not particularly fond of that, so I'm going to take a mono. Okay, and it's basically just desaturate the colour out of it. So with that we need to think of some sort of glow, so we can go and get an edge blur. Okay, and can increase the size of that. Did I put lighting on there before? I put lighting on there just to boost, give it a bit more, just a bit more glowy, is that? So that is a starfield. Okay, we don't need to go much further than that. So we'll get another file. Okay, and this time we're going to go with planet. So we've got this planet, and straight away I'm going to get a composite node, and I'm going to put planet into there, and I'm going to put the starfield into there. So we now have these two composited on top of each other. Now planet, same thing, I'm going to go with an edge blur. Okay, I'm going to blur that up, so you can see we've got a bit of a fall off going out into space there. Again, you can add a light if you want it more brighter, but I'm kind of okay with that. And then we'll get another file, and oops, I'm going to go with the asteroid, $F4. I'm going to composite that again on top of there. Obviously you're not going to see anything until you start bringing the asteroid in, and the asteroid's in there as well. So I'm going to drop a light on there again. Actually I don't think it was a light I used, I think it was a bright. I used on this before, and then just gradually brighten that up just a little bit, like so. I'm going to get a colour correct node onto here, and the reason being is the environment is very blue because of the ocean, so you're going to get a bit more blue in the shadow side. So in the shadows I can multiply this by a blue colour. Obviously you don't want to go completely crazy. You know, just a bit more subtle. So yeah, obviously you can tweak these values as you see fit. Highlight, okay, I'm gonna give it a bit more warm into there, you know, with the sun. I actually think that's too much. I don't want it too blue, if you know what I mean. So if I just bypass that, you can see the change there. It is very subtle. And again, I'm going to get an edge blur. And then not too much, obviously. Well, what I might actually do is perhaps put the light in after the blur. That might be a better option. So you can see we're just altering the brightness there. That edge blur's not doing a great deal now. Okay, so let's get the edge blur and the bright. Let's see what we can do if we add this to there. There we are. We're getting a blur, but we're actually getting a nice glow effect on the edges now. So this is what I was after. I was after the edges glowing just a little bit. So now we can. I mean, you can totally blow it out if you wish, but it's entirely up to you. A little bit of glow is always nice. And let's tidy this up a little bit. So, with that, let's see if I can show you. Yeah, this was the mistake that I made. Look at the light here. And as we step forward, you can see the light suddenly disappears. So what's going on there? Well, it's quite simple really. Entirely my fault. Let's just stick the environment back on for now. This is the problem. Okay. This is the problem. Okay, the end of the environment needs to be over here somewhere. Okay. The light that's underneath, I don't know if you can see it here. This light here, this little dot, that's uplighting. Is obviously uplighting the bottom of this until it gets over there and then it gets blocked. So this wants to extend over across a little bit, and that'll take that away, which is something I should have noticed, and obviously I didn't, so you know, it's unfortunate. But there we go, kind of rough and a cheap way of compositing it all together. I mean, it looks okay. It's enough for what we're after. So with that, let's go to image, jump in, and at the end here, drop yourself down a ROP file output. Wire that into there. Frame range 1 to 200. Okay, hit render, and it'll render it out in mplay. Right, we'll won't take long to do. Okay, nearly there now, 50 frames. Okay, so here we have our finished composited sequence. Obviously the curve needs adjusting. We obviously didn't adjust it enough, but with that, I mean that's pretty much all I wanted to do. Is I just wanted you to see a brief, little short brief video on how to composite it inside Houdini in case you don't have a compositor. If you actually want to do it with a more professional compositor, have a look at is it Blackmagic? Fusion 8. It's a free download. You can always download that and drop that into Fusion and do whatever. It's basically the same Fusion that Ion used to own. So with that, that's all I wanted to show you, the composited sequence. So I'm going to save this sequence and I'm going to save tutorial, and I'm going to call it final render asteroid, and I'm going to go $f4.pic, final render asteroid $f4.pic. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to hit the save. And waiting. Boom, 200 files written successfully. So now I'm going to close that down just to double check. I'm going to go render, mplay, load disk files. I'm going to bring mplay back up. Okay, final render asteroid. I'm going to load that in and just make sure that has worked correctly. Which it has. That's perfectly fine. So with that, I'm going to pull this to a close, and now you've seen the compositing networking there. If you hit tab, there's lots and lots of compositing nodes in here. You've got all of them. So have a dig around, see what you need to, what you think you need to use. Obviously, I've just showed you a handful there. So with that, I'll pull this to a close. Thank you very much for joining me again, and I shall see you soon. Thanks a lot.